The hotel receipt fell out of Kathy's gym bag like a notice you can't ignore. Room 217, Marriott Downtown, 2 nights ago, when she claimed to be at her sister's place helping with the kids. I stared at the crumpled paper, my coffee growing cold as the numbers burned into my retinas. $68 for a room she supposedly never booked. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Ben Foster, and I used to think I was pretty smart. 37 years old, IT consultant, the guy who fixes everyone's computer problems and marriage advice over beers. Turns out I couldn't even debug my own life. Ben, you're overthinking again, Kathy had said last week, brushing past me in our kitchen like I was furniture. Her auburn hair caught the morning light as she grabbed her protein shake. Maybe you should get a hobby. A hobby? Right. Maybe I should take up detective work. The receipt wasn't alone. Underneath it, wrapped in tissue paper, was lingerie I'd never seen before. Black lace, expensive looking, with the tag still attached. Size 6, Kathy's size. And beneath that, folded twice, a handwritten note in messy guy handwriting. K, can't wait for round 3. Last night was incredible. Dean Matthews, her personal trainer. The guy with the perfect abs and the Instagram account full of shirtless mirror selfies. The guy she'd been talking about constantly for 3 months. Dean says protein powder works better after cardio. Dean thinks I should try hot yoga. Dean. I sat in our living room, surrounded by the evidence of my wife's betrayal, and laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the alternative was screaming. 7 years of marriage, and she throws it away for a guy who probably thinks Shakespeare is a protein brand. My phone buzzed. Text from Paul, my oldest friend. Beer tonight? Monica's freaking out about going to her ex's wedding tomorrow. Monica. My buddy Paul's girlfriend, sweet but dramatic. She'd been obsessing for weeks about attending her ex-boyfriend's wedding as someone else's +1. I want to show there's no hard feelings, she'd explained. Prove I've moved on. I typed back, rain check, having my own relationship crisis. What happened? Kathy's been having her own private fitness sessions with Dean the trainer. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, holy shit, you sure? I took a photo of the hotel receipt and note, sent it to Paul. Pretty sure. My phone rang immediately. Ben, man, I'm so sorry. Paul's voice was tight with anger. What are you going to do? Good question. What do you do when your world implodes on a Tuesday morning, when you realize the woman you've loved for 7 years has been treating your marriage like a part-time job? I'm going to pack, I said. The next few hours blurred together. Clothes into suitcase, important documents into a folder, wedding photos into the trash. I moved through our apartment like a ghost, erasing myself from 7 years of shared life. I left a note on the kitchen counter, right where Kathy would see it when she got home from her yoga class. If you're looking for your husband, try room 217 at the Marriott. If you're looking for closure, try your conscience. I've moved out. Don't contact me unless it's through a lawyer. Ben. Then I drove to Paul's place and waited for my life to officially end. Paul lived in a downtown loft that smelled like coffee and regret. When I knocked, he opened the door with a beer already in hand for me. Monica's at the wedding, he said. Left this morning in a dress that cost more than my car payment. Said she wanted to make an impression. We sat on his couch, drinking beer and watching mindless TV. Neither of us mentioned the obvious irony. Both our girlfriends were off making questionable decisions involving their exes. You going to fight for her? Paul asked during a commercial break. Fight for what? The privilege of being married to someone who thinks I'm boring enough to cheat on with a guy who probably uses hair gel as a food group? Paul laughed despite himself. Dean's that bad? I looked at his Instagram. He posted a video yesterday of himself eating a protein bar while doing bicep curls. The caption was, Multitasking King, with 3 crown emojis. Jesus. My phone started buzzing around 8 p.m. Kathy calling over and over. I let it go to voicemail, then text messages started flooding in. Ben, we need to talk. This isn't what it looks like. You're being dramatic. Dean doesn't mean anything. That last one made me laugh so hard I nearly choked on my beer. Dean doesn't mean anything, but he's worth throwing away our marriage? Paul read over my shoulder. She's really going with the it didn't mean anything defense? Classic cheater playbook. Next she'll say it was my fault for working too much. Right on cue, another text. If you weren't always buried in your computer, maybe we could have worked on us. Called it, Paul said. Monica came back around 10, and I could tell from her face that her wedding adventure hadn't gone as planned. Her makeup was smudged, her expensive dress wrinkled. "How was the wedding?" Paul asked carefully. "Horrible." Monica collapsed into a chair. Jake looked so happy with his new wife, and I just felt pathetic, like I was trying to prove something that didn't need proving. She noticed me sitting there with my suitcase. "Ben? What's going on?" "Kathy's been cheating," Paul explained. "He moved out today." Monica's eyes widened. "Oh my God, Ben, I'm so sorry." "Yeah, well, seems like a day for relationship revelations." Monica looked between Paul and me, something shifting in her expression. "You know what? Good for you. For leaving, I mean. I should have had that kind of courage instead of wasting money on a dress to impress people who don't matter." Over the next week, I stayed at Paul's while looking for my own place. Kathy kept calling, kept texting, kept showing up at my office. I ignored all of it. But her friends, Mia and Jordan, the enablers who'd probably known about Dean all along, they weren't content to let sleeping dogs lie. They started a whisper campaign. Suddenly, according to the gossip network, I was the bad guy. I was controlling. I was emotionally unavailable. I had abandonment issues. The breaking point came when I ran into Mia at the grocery store. She cornered me in the cereal aisle like a predator. "You know, Ben, what you're doing to Kathy is really cruel," she said, her voice dripping with fake concern. "She made one mistake, and you're destroying her life." "One mistake?" I kept my voice level. "She's been sleeping with Dean for months. It wasn't that serious. You're blowing this out of proportion." I stared at this woman who'd sat at my dinner table dozens of times, who'd eaten food I cooked, who'd pretended to be my friend while knowing my wife was cheating. "Mia, let me explain something to you. When your husband finds out about your little fling with Jordan's brother-in-law, I hope he's more forgiving than I am." Her face went white. "How did you—" "I'm an IT guy. I notice things. Like how you and Mark always seem to have work emergencies at the same time. Funny how that works." I walked away, leaving her standing there with her mouth open. But I knew the war was just beginning. That weekend, Monica asked if I wanted to get coffee. We met at a little place downtown, and she looked different somehow, more confident. "I owe you an apology," she said as we sat down. "For what?" "For being an idiot about Jake's wedding. Paul told me what you said, about proving something that didn't need proving. You were right. We talked for 2 hours, about marriage, about betrayal, about the weird way life kicks you when you're down. Monica was funny and smart, and for the first time in months, I found myself actually enjoying a conversation. "You know what's crazy?" she said as we were leaving. "I spent so much energy trying to prove I was over Jake, when I should have been focusing on being with Paul." "Yeah, well, hindsight's 20/20. Paul's lucky to have you as a friend. You're a good guy, Ben." Walking back to my car, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Optimism. Maybe my marriage was over. Maybe I was starting from scratch at 37. But at least I wasn't living a lie anymore. That feeling lasted exactly until I got home and found Dean waiting by my car. He was everything I'd expected, and worse. 6'2", muscles that looked like they'd been carved from marble, wearing a tank top in 40-degree weather to show off his arms. His blonde hair was perfectly styled, and he had the kind of tan that comes from a bottle. "You Ben?" he asked as I approached. "Depends who's asking." "I'm Dean. I think you know who I am." "Yeah, you're the guy who's been screwing my wife." He stepped closer, trying to use his size to intimidate me. "Look, man, what happened between Kathy and me, that's between us. But you're making her life hell, and I don't like it." I almost laughed. "You don't like it? That's rich." "Oh, she's a good woman. She deserves better than some computer nerd who can't satisfy her." The insult hit its target, but I kept my voice steady. "If she's such a good woman, why is she still married to the computer nerd?" Dean's face flushed red. "That's temporary." "Is it? Because last I checked, she was still wearing her wedding ring and telling people it was all a big misunderstanding." "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know she's playing both of us, Dean. You think you're special? You think you're the first guy she's cheated with?" I was bluffing, but the doubt that flickered across his face told me I'd hit close to home. "You're lying." "Am I? Ask her about the business trip to Chicago last year. Ask her about her college friend, Mike, she had dinner with." Dean's confidence cracked just a little. "Kathy wouldn't." "Kathy would. Kathy did. And when she gets bored with you, she'll do it again." I walked past him toward the building entrance. He grabbed my arm. "We're not done talking." I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. "Yeah, we are." Something in my voice must have convinced him, because he let go. But as I walked away, I heard him call out, "This isn't over." He was right. It wasn't over, but he had no idea what he'd just started. That night, I made a decision. If Kathy and her friends wanted to play dirty, if they wanted to spread lies and send her muscle-bound boyfriend to threaten me, then I'd show them what dirty really looked like. I spent the weekend planning. Not violence. I wasn't stupid enough to give Dean an excuse to pound me into paste. But I had other skills that could make their lives very uncomfortable. Monday morning, I started with Dean's social media. The guy was an influencer wannabe with 12,000 followers and delusions of grandeur. He posted workout videos, diet tips, and motivational quotes stolen from more successful people. I created a fake account and started following his patterns. Where he went, when he posted, who he tagged. Dean was predictable. Gym every morning at 6, protein smoothie at the juice bar next door, then client sessions until evening. Tuesday, I followed him. Not stalking, just observing. I watched him flirt with 3 different women during his workout. Watched him slip his number to a blonde in yoga pants. Watched him take selfies in the gym mirror while other people waited to use the equipment. This guy wasn't just cheating with my wife. He was a serial player, and Kathy was just another conquest. Wednesday, I got the proof I needed. Dean met Kathy at a hotel bar downtown. Not the Marriott this time, but a place called the Roosevelt. I sat 3 tables away, nursing a beer and watching them grope each other like teenagers. But the real show started when Dean's phone rang. He stepped outside to take the call, and I followed. Through the window, I watched him talking to someone, his body language completely different, softer, more intimate. When he came back inside, Kathy asked who it was. Work, he lied smoothly. I paid my tab and left, but not before snapping a few photos through the window. Kathy and Dean kissing, Dean on his phone call. The timestamp showing this was happening while Dean was supposedly committed to their relationship. Thursday, I ran into Monica at the coffee shop again. She looked upset. Paul and I broke up, she said without preamble. What? Why? Because I'm an idiot. Because I spent so much time obsessing over my ex that I forgot to appreciate what I had right in front of me. She started crying, and I found myself handing her napkins and feeling genuinely sorry for her. Maybe it's not too late, I said. It is. He said he's tired of feeling like second choice. And he's right. We sat in silence for a while. Then Monica looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. Can I ask you something? When you found out about Kathy, were you surprised? I thought about it. Honestly, part of me wasn't. Things had been off for months. I just didn't want to see it. Do you think people can change? Really change? I think people can change their behavior, but their character? That's harder. Monica nodded slowly. Paul's a good guy. Better than I deserved. Yeah, he is. You're a good guy too, Ben. Kathy's an idiot for throwing you away. Friday night, everything came to a head. I was at Paul's place, helping him drown his sorrows over Monica, when my phone started ringing. Kathy, of course? Answer it, Paul said. Maybe it's time. I picked up. What do you want, Kathy? I want to talk, face to face, please. There's nothing to talk about. There's everything to talk about. I miss you, Ben. I miss us. You should have thought about that before you started your fitness program with Dean. That's over. I ended it. I almost believed her, almost. When? Today. This afternoon. I told him it was a mistake, that I want to work on our marriage. And what did he say? Silence. Then, he wasn't happy about it. I bet he wasn't. Losing his sugar mama must be tough. It wasn't like that. What was it like, Kathy? Explain it to me. Help me understand how my wife of 7 years decides to start screwing her personal trainer. You want to know the truth? Fine. You've been checked out of our marriage for 2 years. You work all the time, you never want to go out, you never touch me anymore. I felt invisible. So you decided to become visible to Dean. I felt alive with him. Attractive. Wanted. And now? Another pause. Now I realize what I threw away. I want to come home, Ben. I want us to try again. I looked at Paul, who was listening to every word. He shook his head slightly. I'll think about it, I said. Really? Really. But I need time and space and proof that you're serious. Anything. Whatever you need. I'll call you tomorrow. I hung up and immediately felt like I needed a shower. You're not actually considering it, Paul said. No, but I want her to think I am. Saturday morning, I put my plan into action. I called Kathy and told her I wanted to meet, but not alone. I wanted to sit down with her and all her friends, the ones who'd been spreading rumors about me. I wanted to clear the air. That's not necessary, she said quickly. It is for me. If we're going to work on us, I need to know your friends aren't going to keep poisoning you against me. She agreed reluctantly. We set it up for Sunday afternoon at the Roosevelt, the same hotel bar where I'd watched her with Dean. Sunday came, and I arrived early. I'd spent the morning preparing, and I felt calm in a way I hadn't in weeks. This was going to end today, one way or another. Kathy arrived first, looking nervous but beautiful. She'd worn the blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary last year, trying to remind me of better times. Mia and Jordan showed up together, whispering to each other like conspirators. They sat across from me with hostile expressions. "Ben," Mia said coldly, "I hope you are here to apologize." "Oh, I'm here to apologize for a lot of things." Paul arrived next. I'd asked him to come as my witness. Then, to everyone's surprise, Monica walked in. She looked different again. Confident, determined. "What's she doing here?" Kathy asked. "Monica's here because she has something to say," I replied. "Don't you, Monica?" Monica sat down next to Paul, who looked confused but didn't object. "I want to apologize," Monica said. "To everyone, but especially to Paul." "Monica," Paul started. "No, let me finish. I've been an idiot. I wasted months obsessing over my ex, trying to prove I was over him, when I should have been focusing on the amazing man right in front of me." She turned to Paul. "I love you. I've loved you for 2 years, but I was too scared to admit it, too scared to be vulnerable." Paul's expression softened. "Monica, I know I hurt you. I know I made you feel like second choice, but you weren't. You were always first choice. I was just too stupid to see it." They were looking at each other like the rest of us didn't exist. It was sweet and painful at the same time. "That's very touching," Mia interrupted, "but we're here to talk about Ben and Kathy." "Right," I said. "We are." I pulled out my phone and set it on the table. "Kathy, you said you ended things with Dean." "I did." "When exactly?" "Friday afternoon. I told you." "Interesting, because I have a text thread here that suggests otherwise." I showed her the screen. Messages between Dean and someone named Kay. Messages from yesterday morning. "Dean, can't wait to see you tonight." "Kay, me too. Ben's being so pathetic." Dean, "After we're done, want to grab dinner?" "Kay, perfect. I'll tell him I'm at my sister's again." Kathy's face went white. "Where did you get those?" "Dean's not as smart as he thinks. He uses the same password for everything, including his cloud backup." "That's illegal." "Actually, it's not. He posted his password in an Instagram story last month. One of those rate my workout playlist things where he showed his phone screen. I just have a good memory." Mia leaned forward. "Even if those are real, people make mistakes." "Oh, we're just getting started," I said. I swiped to the next screenshot. Here's Dean talking to his buddy Reggie about Kathy. Quote, "She's so desperate for attention, it's almost sad, but she pays for the hotel room, so whatever." Kathy looked like she was going to be sick. "And here's my personal favorite," I continued. Dean texting his ex-girlfriend. "Still seeing the married chick. Easy money, and she thinks I actually care about her. Some people are so pathetic." The table went silent. Kathy was staring at the phone like it was a snake. "But wait, there's more," I said cheerfully. "Jordan, you might find this interesting." I showed another screenshot. "Dean's been texting your husband too. Apparently they've been working out together and discussing you in detail." Jordan grabbed the phone. Her face went from confused to horrified as she read, "He's been... Oh my God. Tom's been telling him about our private life? Gets better. Mia, remember how you were so concerned about Kathy's well-being? Well, Dean and Tom have been placing bets on how long it would take for you to join their little fitness club." Mia snatched the phone next. I watched her read, watched her face crumble. "They're rating us," she whispered. Like we're objects." "Dean's got a whole spreadsheet," I said. "Ages, measurements, relationship status, how likely you are to cheat on your husbands. It's very thorough." The women sat in stunned silence. Paul was trying not to smile. Monica looked horrified, but fascinated. "Ben," Kathy said quietly, "why are you doing this?" "Because you asked me what I wanted to talk about. This is what I wanted to talk about." I leaned forward. "You three spent the last 2 weeks telling everyone who'd listen that I was controlling, that I was emotionally unavailable, that I drove you to cheat. You painted me as the villain in your little soap opera." "Ben, I'm not done. You made me out to be some kind of monster because I had the audacity to be hurt when I found out my wife was screwing her personal trainer. You turned our friends against me. You sent Dean to threaten me." "I never?" "You did. And now you know the truth. Dean doesn't care about any of you. You're just entertainment to him, a game he plays with his buddies. I stood up. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to stop spreading lies about me. You're going to tell everyone the truth, that you cheated, that I left, and that I had every right to do so. And if we don't? Mia asked, trying to sound tough but failing. Then I send Dean's little spreadsheet to your husbands. All of it. The ratings, the bets, the private information you shared that he passed along to his friends. The threat hung in the air like smoke. You wouldn't, Jordan said. Try me. Paul cleared his throat. Actually, you might want to check your phones. We all looked at him. What do you mean? Ben asked me to do something while you were all reading. I may have accidentally forwarded some of those screenshots to a few people. My phone started buzzing. Then Kathy's, then Mia's, and Jordan's. Who did you send them to? Kathy asked frantically. Oh, just the usual suspects, Paul said casually. Your sister, Mia's husband, Jordan's book club, a few people from the gym. You bastards, Mia screamed. No, I said calmly. We're just people who are tired of being lied about. Monica suddenly spoke up. Paul, I have a confession. Everyone turned to her. I didn't just come here to apologize. I came here because I wanted to tell you something else. She took a deep breath. I've been seeing someone. Paul's face fell. Monica, don't. I've been seeing a therapist about my commitment issues, about my fear of being vulnerable, about why I keep sabotaging good relationships. Paul blinked. Oh? And she helped me realize something. I don't want to be like them. She gestured at Kathy, Mia, and Jordan. I don't want to be someone who throws away love because I'm scared or bored or looking for something that doesn't exist. She turned to Paul. I want to be someone worthy of you, if you'll let me try. Paul was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. I'd like that. They kissed, right there at the table, while the rest of us watched. How touching, Kathy said bitterly. But what about us, Ben? What about our marriage? I looked at my wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, and felt nothing but pity. There is no us, Kathy. There hasn't been for months. You made that choice when you decided Dean was more interesting than the man you married. I made a mistake. You made a choice, multiple choices, and now you get to live with the consequences. I picked up my phone and stood. Oh, and Kathy, you might want to find a new gym. I hear Dean's about to lose his job. Apparently sleeping with clients is against company policy. Who knew? Her eyes widened. You didn't. I didn't have to. Turns out when you send evidence of professional misconduct to someone's employer, they tend to take action. I walked toward the door, then turned back. For what it's worth, I hope you figure out what you actually want someday, but you're not going to figure it out with me. Paul and Monica followed me out, leaving the three women sitting at the table in stunned silence. Outside, Paul clapped me on the back. That was brutal, man. They earned it. Monica hugged me. Thank you? For what? For showing me what real consequences look like. For making me realize I never want to be on the receiving end of something like that. We walked to our cars together. Paul and Monica were holding hands, talking quietly about second chances and therapy and learning to be better people. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, then decided to check. This is Dean. You win. But this isn't over. I typed back, yeah, it is. Then I blocked the number, deleted all the screenshots from my phone, and drove home to my new apartment. 6 months later, I ran into Monica at that same coffee shop. She was wearing an engagement ring. Paul proposed last week, she said, glowing with happiness. Congratulations. He's a good guy. The best. We're doing couples therapy together now, learning to communicate better. That's great. What about you? Anyone special? I smiled. Actually, yes. Her name's Sarah. She's a librarian. A librarian? That's perfect for you. She is. She's kind and smart, and she thinks my computer jokes are funny. Does she know about everything? I told her the whole story on our third date. Figured if she was going to run, better to find out early. And she didn't run. She said any man who could handle that situation with that much class was worth keeping around. Monica laughed. I like her already. As I walked back to my car, I thought about revenge and justice and the difference between the two. I'd gotten my revenge on Kathy and her friends, but more than that, I'd gotten something better, the truth. And sometimes the truth is the most devastating weapon of all. My phone rang. Sarah calling to see if I wanted to grab dinner. Hey, beautiful, I answered. Hey, yourself. How was your day? Perfect, I said, and meant it. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting better.